Happy Friday.
Hi, guys.
I am Melanie.
I'm Santana.
And this is just one more chapter. It's the end of March,
Yes.
which is so... it's like a
crazy.
broken record.
I know.
But time
Every time the month ends, we're like,
whoa,
oh my God.
it actually ended.
Shocker.
But it does feel like it's like summer's slowly starting to come.
It does,
so I'm
yeah.
enjoying how
It felt like
quickly.
spring the other day. I was
It
like,
did.
oh, it's so nice.
Yes,
warm.
I know.
The sun was shining. It was
Even
great.
today, driving in after dropping off the kids,
Yeah.
it was like weird that it was like sunny. I was like, something's weird.
It's like, what's going on here?
It's not raining or slushing.
Full spring.
Oh God, I love it. So this is our review episode of Rebel Witch.
Yes.
If you haven't read it, please come back.
Yes, skip this episode. Because we are
Spoilers.
diving deep into this. There's lots to unpack here.
Lots. Santana's not lying.
Like, oh my goodness.
Where can they find us, Santana?
You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Just One More Chapter.
And we're doing this podcast for free, you guys.
Yes.
We're not getting paid to do any of this.
Yeah.
So we really would like and appreciate the follows and the thumbs up and the ratings. Like, that helps our podcast so much.
Yes.
We're doing this for free because we love it. And the easiest thing you guys can do is just show your support if you're a listener and give us those 5 stars on Apple or Spotify.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, well, this is going to be a long episode, so we better jump into it.
Let's jump in. So what did you rate it? Let's start off with ratings.
I believe I rated it 4 stars.
Me as well.
Yeah.
That's what I did too.
I think, why did you rate it 4 stars?
Well, just because, like, it was a good conclusion to, like, Heartless Hunter, right? The duo, but I don't know, it's just so much in so little time. It was just almost too fast-paced, like, towards the end. I felt like it could have been a trilogy, honestly.
100% agree. Like, there's definitely a lot of content she had and could have explored more.
Yeah.
That a trilogy would be fine. It could be a small book.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
Exactly, me too.
But yeah,
It was just like the third part. There was so much info packed in there. It was almost too hard to process.
yeah, it was too hard to process. Trying to remember every little detail was so difficult.
Yeah.
Oh.
And she's like introducing new characters in the third part 3. It's like,
And
who are these people?
Yes,
Like,
and we never learned about the ancients.
the ancients
in the first
Heartless
one.
Hunter, right? Yeah. I was like, what is these ancients and why do they keep referring to them?
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
just comes out of nowhere.
It's way too much. So yeah, I rated 4 stars. It's definitely, for me, wasn't as good as Heartless Hunter.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of the word mashing and the storyline.
The info dumping.
Info dumping. Oh my goodness. But like, I have to give it to her. The moment I started the book, I was in it.
Oh, totally.
I wanted to keep going and know more.
Yeah, I think because the way Heartless Hunter ends, it's like that cliffhanger, right? So you're like, I need to know more.
Yes. Okay, so then where does the book begin? Where are we?
So we start in Gideon's perspective. What did you think about that?
I was happy that we're starting Gideon's perspective because it left off in his perspective, I believe, Heartless Hunter.
Yeah.
Of him watching Ruin go away.
Leave.
And then, and I think she just yells out in Heartless Hunter that, like, good luck catching me or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we were in Gideon's perspective.
Yes. So Rune is
It's been 2 months has passed though,
2
right?
months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rune is now engaged to a prince.
See, this is the thing. It immediately jumps you in 2 months, which that's fine.
Yeah.
But immediately he finds her.
Yeah.
We didn't get to experience that.
him like traveling there,
Yeah.
or like how he hunted her down,
Yeah.
or like even got in to the castle where the prince lives.
Immediately, he's on a mission to kill her, and he's found her in the beginning of the book.
I was just like,
Yeah. I wish we could have dealt with that a little bit more.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
This is like a theme for the book for me. Is that a lot of it just seemed like way too good to be true, or like, really? Is that how it happened? It just everything seems so easy.
Yes,
Maybe that's the
and
word.
I found a lot of things were predictable too.
Yeah. Yes. That's like perfect
Which we'll
match.
get into. So yeah, and Rune's engaged to this prince. Gideon's found her. He's trying to kill her.
He's on a mission because he's obviously at odds with the Blood Guard. They do not trust him anymore.
Yes.
And the only way for them to trust him is that he has to kill her.
For him to prove himself,
Yeah, like bring her back. And so Ruin's trying to secure a deal with this prince so they could use his ships at the dock to save witches, because that's all she's really thinking about. She doesn't really care, which is kind of weird. She doesn't really care about Cressida gaining power, that like Ruin is just so solely focused on saving witches that she's just like, I don't care if people are going to be murdered.
Exactly.
It's just,
It's
I don't
ridiculous.
know. It's a weird thing. Like, I understand she's a vigilante. She's a Crimson Moth. But you'd think, I don't know. Maybe, this was bugging me.
I agree.
That bugged me
and
so
then
much.
also she's engaged to him so Cressida can secure his army to attack the
That's
island.
right, a duo thing.
That was also the main reason why Cressida set them up, right?
Yeah, weird too. Like, she's like, yeah, I'll marry you just for Cressida. I don't know. She just feels like doesn't feel like the powerful Ruin that she was in the first book.
Exactly. I agree.
But I maybe it's because she's mourning and she obviously just lost Alex.
Exactly. Her whole life has been turned upside down, right? She's lost her house, everything.
Her best friend, which we still don't know how long Cressida was like playing with her.
Like, oh my God.
So, maybe we have to give her a little bit of a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Like, she's probably just like going through it.
Yeah.
Just been like, okay, whatever.
100%. Like, what is going on? So Gideon finds Rune. They have a bit of a confrontation in the powder room when he's like trying to kill her. They struggle for the gun, and then Cressida walks in and sees Gideon. And this is the first time I think Gideon did Gideon see her in Heartless Hunter?
Yes.
Oh, towards the end. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So they definitely come across.
Yeah.
I felt like it was like, again, such a rush that immediately he finds her, and then Cressida finds them too, and it's just like,
it's like, whoa, this is all in like the first 5 chapters.
Yes.
Like,
It's it's a lot.
yeah. So they're struggling for the gun. Cressida walks in, and then she casts a spell and is kind of holding Gideon hostage.
That's right.
And Rune is like, oh, like whatever at this point, right? And then the prince, I think, takes Rune away. Yeah,
it was like immediately.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I want to escape them both.
Yes. Yeah, she gets back to the chambers, and then she's like, okay, I need to escape. I need to leave. Like,
How did you get here in the first place? And all of that, just before that was happening, we find out that Cressida has 2 sisters.
Yes.
Who have been kind of like, not really mummified. What would you call it? Just like, they're still them. They're just kind of like in a spell where they haven't aged.
Yeah.
And Cressida...
They can be resurrected.
There you go.
Yeah.
She wants to resurrect her sisters because she wants all of them to be in power again. So that's where you find out, like, okay, this is the big plan now.
Yes.
That, okay, clearly Cressida is going to try and get her sisters, and then we have to, as the viewer, get rid of her sisters. Like, that's the main goal now. So Gideon obviously wants to stop Cressida. That's his main goal. He definitely doesn't want to kill Ruin.
Yeah.
Like, you find that right away that he struggled in the beginning.
Yeah, he could have shot her and killed her, but he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't at all. And so to try and still be in good graces with the Blood Guard, he's like, okay, well, if I'm not going to bring Ruin in. I'm not going to do that to her. So now I'm just going to make it my mission to get Cressida.
Yeah.
And work with Ruin.
Yeah.
What'd you think about that?
I was surprised. Well, not really surprised. I mean, they're both obsessed with each other, so you know. And he hates Cressida because of all the trauma she put him through. So made sense.
It made sense. So they make a pact with each other that they're gonna go find Cressida's sisters. Oh no, they're gonna go find. Do they find out that there's another long lost Roseblood?
I think so. I think at this point we do know that because that's how like Cressida's going to resurrect them. She needs the blood from her missing heir.
That's right. Okay.
So Rune knows that, and I think she explains that to Gideon too at this point.
Yeah, I can't remember how Gideon knows.
Yeah, how it came about. I think Rune told him is how he knew.
Okay. Yeah. So then now they're going to go sail to the New Republic to go and trying to find the new one. So Ruin has to use her spell to cloak herself as someone else because obviously she's a fugitive.
Yes.
And so Gideon, they like make this weird, secret of getting onto the ship where she's his wife.
Yes, they're
Right?
like newlyweds, or
That's-
they're engaged newlyweds.
And they get onto the ship, and
They have to share like a small room together.
the one bed.
The one bed. Yeah, so they board the ship and they're in this like cramped third class room, right? And Rune's like totally not used to this.
No.
Living like a princess her whole life.
And Gideon runs into his former flame.
Yes. Abby.
I feel like obviously that was like such an easy plot point for them to put in like a love triangle thing. Did you buy it at all?
Not really.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't
like
either.
I was like surprised that he actually like did have something with someone else while Rune was away in like such a short time, but
Yeah.
you know.
Well, it's like someone from his past, you know, like
they work together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And then like immediately Ruin is like so jealous.
Super jealous, gets like wasted.
Like she's trying to like, you know, like I don't care.
Yeah.
But like it's like not flirting, but she's getting the attention of the other people.
Yeah.
Like, people on the ship.
I think like a guy named William, he keeps hitting on her, and Gideon's getting jealous too, right? And this part gave me like major like Titanic vibes of them being like down in like the third class and like
That's right.
dancing and stuff. I just got that vibe. I loved it.
Oh, that's such a good connection. So yes, these people knew Gideon before he became the general of the Blood Guards. So like, you know, young friends.
Yeah.
So it makes sense he'd have a you know, like a crush. But we do know during this sail that every time a ship comes in out of the harbor of New Republic, there's always these dogs who sniff for witches.
Sniff out witches, yeah.
So Ruin's spell can't hide that she's a witch. So she's trying to find a place in the ship that could store, like that she could sneak into when like the dogs are going to go sniffing around.
And she's also looking for like a spot to hide witches on the way back too. She was like, oh, maybe I could fit some witches down here in the boiler room.
So this William guy is like getting really close and like really interested into Ruin. And then I think Gideon goes and plays like this game or something.
Yes.
Like a drinking game or something.
Yeah.
With, what's her name? Amber?
Abby.
And then William swoops in and was like, well, I'll like show you around.
Yes.
And then Ruin's like, well, if you're going to show me around, maybe I'll just try and get him to show me like the bunker or under there, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think immediately Gideon like interrupts them.
Gideon comes down. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, go away, Ruin. I told you not to go with anybody else.
All jealous.
But like, if that
meanwhile,
was
he like ditched her for Abby. Like,
Yes.
excuse me, sir.
yes, if you're so concerned,
Yeah.
why did you leave her?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
like, you're fine by yourself.
Bye.
So then Ruin was like pretends to leave, and she actually doesn't leave.
Yeah.
and then cloaks herself to be invisible. And this is where she overhears Gideon tell William, like, "Oh, I'm just using her."
Yes.
Like,
So before that, though, we find out Gideon's cursed. They share a
really?
kiss. They share
No,
a
I
kiss
didn't put
to
it
like
there.
deceive the police, because the police are like onto them, right?
That's right.
So Gideon and Rune share a kiss, and this is where he has this like major reaction and like pain, and pulls away, and Rune immediately thinks like, oh, he's disgusted by me because I'm a
Yes.
witch, right? And then she runs
Yes.
away and like cloaks herself. And then this is when William like follows her down into the boiler room.
see, there's so much with this book
Yeah,
that I
there's
couldn't
so
write all this
I know.
fucking down. Oh my
There's
God.
so much. And then, so William is the spy on board, and he knows.
We didn't touch about that. See, guys? Oh my
too much
goodness.
going
There's
on
too
here.
much going on. Yes, the spy.
So Gideon knew there was a spy on board. Originally, he thought it was Abby.
That's right.
And that's why he was kind of like, oh, trying to like get information from her. But it turns out it was actually William. And he corners Rune. And Gideon comes and saves her last minute and kind of
Yes.
explains to him what he's doing.
That's right.
Meanwhile,
That's why he
Rune
explains.
is like listening in on this, right? Like, I'm just using her. Da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da.
Yes, yeah, because William's like, well, and I wonder how. Well, it doesn't matter now because we're going to move past it. But I can't remember how William figures out that she's Rune because she's cloaked. Right? Or just because, like,
know,
who else would be with Gideon? He's like, duh,
Yeah,
it's obviously you.
maybe. I don't think it even touched on that.
I don't-
Maybe I just missed it, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it does make sense if he is a spy and he knows Gideon's supposed to go get Ruin, that, like, why would he cloak himself that he's engaged? Oh, that's why, obviously, because he knows Gideon's not actually engaged to anybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
There you go.
I think so, anyways.
God.
Oh, and before that, Abby follows Gideon back to his room.
Oh my gosh.
And they share a kiss. She's like trying to convince him to like leave with her and all this stuff.
Like it's
Yeah.
a no coincidence we're here together.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
I was
this
like,
is a
girl,
sign."
please. He's engaged. Like as far as she
Yes.
knows, he has
That's
a wife.
totally right.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Newlyweds.
Ew.
So they share a kiss, and this is where Gideon realizes it only happens when he kisses Rune. He's like, oh, he kisses her to see, right? Like, and nothing happens. So he's like, oh,
Obviously
it must
there's-
only be with Rune.
That's right.
Right?
There's the connection.
Yes.
Okay, so Ruin overhears that conversation with William, but they don't talk about it. So then Ruin's like, well, if he's going to use me, then I'm going to use him.
Yep.
And she figures out her own plan. Oh, and so then they're about to get off the boat. And then something happens where he gets taken to Noah and Hera. Like, he gets captured. I wish I put... Right, because like they get off the boat safely. Is it when he gets back to the house?
They get off the boat safely, like because he told William the plan.
That's right.
He's like, call off the guards, call off the dogs, so
Yes.
that they're able to get back to Gideon's house like safely. And then the guards come to like arrest him.
Yeah, and she goes hides up on the roof.
Yeah.
Right, and he tells her go hide up on the roof. So then Noah and Hera take him away.
Yeah.
And then he explains his like plan, and obviously they don't trust him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like they're like putting a lot of trust into Gideon. Like they must clearly they really hate witches.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy to me that they're putting so much faith into him when he's just proved to them over and over again. Like he's not to be trusted.
Not to be trusted.
Like they must really hate witches. They're like, we have no other choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Go back and get her. Which makes it easier for the plot to keep moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is where he updates like the good commander Noah about Cressida trying to resurrect her sisters.
Yes.
And in order to like prove himself, they bring up the Sibyl, which is Aurelia, I want to say her name.
I think
is
that's how you pronounce it, yeah.
Right? And she confirms everything, but she can't see the missing heir for some reason.
Yeah, I think the missing heir has some sort of like spell on them or something.
Yeah,
that
protection spell or something.
Yeah, to make sure no one can find them. So he gets back to the house, and obviously Ruin realizes that, like, she knows that in her mind she thinks Gideon is using her and vice versa, so she doesn't really question like why he comes back.
Yeah.
Which I feel it's weird they didn't have a conversation about
I
like
know.
how she just easily still come back to being taken.
He just shows up. First, he makes a deal with Aurelia, though.
Oh, that's right.
About, I will set you free if, what is it? Sorry. If she tells him where Cressida's sisters are being kept.
Okay.
With the spell, he'll set her and her
child free.
Yeah. So then Gideon brings her back to his place.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
See, I didn't have that in mind. No.
Oh wait, sorry. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He comes by. He does make the plan though.
Yes.
But he still comes back to the house to himself.
Yes, that's right. You're right.
And him and
Sorry.
Ruin have this like heart to heart with each other.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they talked about though. But they just kind of confide in each other and just get a lot more personal again.
Yeah. And then so Gideon returns, and then he kind of explains to her that they're going to go find the child though at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he needs Aurelia to find Cressida's sisters. So then Rune's like, well, I need to find them and the heir. So I'll help you save her daughter and her.
Yeah. So they head out to where the child is being kept. They're both dressed as guards. Rune uses the spell to persuade the guard And then she fakes an ankle injury to get into the home.
You know, this guard sucks, by the way. Like, you protected this, like,
he's all like
a good-looking girl. Sure, come in here.
No problem.
Yeah, she, like, flirts. Well, so, there's one point in the book, I don't know if it's at this point or not, where I think she has, like, an inner dialogue of like, well, flirting, you know, got me in the past to places. I guess I just got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like it was like, ugh.
Oh, yeah, no, Gideon was pissed that she was flirting with him. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like she, but I hated that she had, like, I understand she's using her femininity and just being like, you know, guys are so stupid and easy that I'll just flirt my way through.
Exactly.
But like, that she had an inner dialogue of like, well, that's all that not that I'm all really good at.
Yeah.
That was like one of her strengths. I don't know. Like, I just found that like icky. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
and this part is where like her and Gideon are having like these weird arguments. Meanwhile, they're like hiding, like sneaking into this house to try and find this child.
weird timing.
It's so like this happens quite often in this book too, where they're like arguing and it's like not the time or place, guys.
No, and it's not a quick exchange. It's like a good couple, like a good page and a half.
Yeah, 100%.
You're like, isn't there a time limit on what's happening here?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
aren't you trying to be like quiet right now?
Yes, and I feel like that's one of the major issues we talked about, and that's why for me, their love story was great, but it didn't really hit because we can't really sink into these like lovey moments when there's so much happening.
Too much going on.
Like, I understand there's not much. They can't really have downtime to have this. So okay, I understand they're having it in these weird places, but then I just didn't really feel it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it doesn't mean as much.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is where Gideon kind of tells Rune he's cursed by Cressida. That it only happens when he touches Rune, kisses or touches her.
Yes.
And Rune is like pissed. She's like, I'm going to find a counter spell. Like that, she's determined.
Yes. She's absolutely determined, like, to figure out why that even happened. Because she's so jealous. Because she finds out, back a few pages, but she finds out through William, but she doesn't know what happened, that, like, Abby went to Gideon's bedroom.
Exactly.
He's busy. And then I think Rune brings it up. Like,
she does.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think he tells her that Abby kissed him.
Yeah.
Like, they
he's
kissed
like,
each other.
that's the only reason why I kissed her was to see if I was cursed for anybody, but it was it's just you.
Yes.
Right?
And that really set her off.
Yeah. So then they do manage to get the child and they try to escape. But then there's like a major shootout moment. The guards are like, intruder, and they're like shooting back and forth.
Yes. So he has to see, it was like, well, you have to take her. You go. Obviously, he knows he's going to be fine because he's not really an enemy, but he does get shot in the process.
Yes.
And then this is kind of in that time where she's about to leave, she has a vision.
Yeah, her first vision.
Her first vision, which I don't know. How do you feel about this whole vision thing?
I mean,
was it just too?
It's
again,
just another additive that like probably didn't need to be there. Do you know what I mean?
But like, what's the point?
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, why does it need to be there?
Yeah.
I mean, she does see Gideon and herself with children in the future, but it's like,
but this vision thing doesn't really come into play at all again, though,
exactly.
other than telling her that she has children with Gideon.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so what is the point of her having visions?
Yeah, I know,
like,
I agree.
Just to add it to the book again?
Another thing, like.
But then why is she, like, this is the thing. It doesn't get brought up again.
Yeah.
There's no delving information as to, oh, she's this type of, like, witch. Do all witches have fucking visions?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I understand she's a part of the sisters.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're not that special. Are they that special? I don't think so. They're just powerful witches.
Yeah, they're just like evil, corrupt witches. So.
Like,
I know.
I don't.
It doesn't really explain it.
No, it's unnecessary. Yeah, it's just, again, unnecessary things that I don't think would have changed the plot of the story.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, I think she still would have fallen for him.
Sprinkled that in there.
Yeah, I hate. But anyway, she has a vision of herself, but she doesn't fully want to believe it. But she thinks it's her and Gideon, and their children. And yeah, then she escapes with Meadow.
Yeah,
and he gets captured, and gets captured. Makes a deal with Layla. Is that how you say her name?
Yes. he kind of like explains things to her, and she's like, okay, well, keep me in the loop so
Yeah.
you don't get
Because he had to
shot
convince
again.
her. Yeah, I don't know. Again, how is he convincing these people? I don't
Yeah.
know. But he convinces them to let them take Ariella
Yeah.
with him. Again, how does
Yeah.
this happening?
It's like, okay.
It's like everything's been like hitting point.
Yeah.
There's not much actual conflict because it gets resolved immediately.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. It was kind of annoying.
Okay. And then they all meet up again.
Yeah.
They argue about Cressida and the suffering. And this is kind of where I didn't really buy Ruin's character. In terms of like Gideon's like, well, I don't want Cressida in power. Mm-hmm. She's just, like, I don't want Cressida in power. She's a horrible human being.
Yeah.
She's just going to be torturing people. And then Ruin's like, well, she's not going to be torturing witches. Then I don't
Yeah.
really care about you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ruin frustrated me with this character trait she was having in terms of like, I only care about witches. I don't care about anybody else. It's like, where is your humanity or your
100%.
empathy?
I agree.
I don't know. I just didn't buy it. I didn't buy that Ruin would act like this.
This is where we find out that Rune needs Aurelia. Is that how you say her name?
I think
Aurelia?
so.
I'm so bad with pronunciation.
Yeah, I think so.
She needs her to
Aurelia?
cast like a summoning spell to see who Cressida's missing heir is, and agrees to get her and her child off the island.
Yeah, so they kind of make a plan of they're going to go and they're going to separate from Gideon.
Yeah.
But then why does
And
Ariella...
then again, Gideon lets them go.
Yeah, lets them go.
Okay.
And they have this... And then Ruin and Ariella has a conversation where she's like, don't trust Gideon. But she doesn't delve into the information of why to not trust Gideon.
Exactly.
Another, again...
It's like, okay.
What's the point of that conversation?
Okay, cool.
I don't know. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so they part ways. Gideon's basically like, I'm going to find you. Rune's like, don't follow me.
Yeah, the same kind of back and forth.
So annoying.
Always.
So yeah, so Rune and Aurelia go to this towering circle of stones to cast the spell and wait.
So they realized that they needed Cressida's, was it like hair?
Yeah, she had a locket of her hair,
To do this.
to cast the spell.
And so they have to cast this spell, which gives like, it's like 24 hours? Or
I think it was 12 hours.
12 hours,
Yeah.
where they just have to wait, and then the magic would pull the long lost heir to this location, and that's how they would find out. Or no, it's like the ghost of him. I don't think it's actually
Yeah,
them,
no, it's
right?
not actually them. It's like
Yeah.
a spirit of them or something.
Yeah.
So they can see.
So then
Meanwhile, it's like then it switched to like Gideon. Like they go to sleep, and then it switches to Gideon's point of view, and he's like creeping, like watching them from afar.
yeah, like he was always never going to let them go. He wanted to
Yeah.
watch them. Because
Yeah.
I don't know why Ruin wouldn't bring him along. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna move past
So
that.
he like watches them cast the spell, and then he's waiting, and then all of a sudden like Rune comes out, and she's like glowing, and he like has the realization like she's the missing heir.
Yeah. Did you expect that?
I don't know. I can't really remember now if I was like shocked by it or not. I don't think I was very shocked by it.
Yeah, I think I was in the same boat as
Yeah,
you. Like,
I wasn't like, oh wow, crazy plot twist. No, you know what I mean? Like I was just like, oh,
yeah, I was like, okay.
yeah.
It wasn't
It
a
kind of
crazy
makes
shock.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Wasn't shocked.
It was good, but I wasn't like, oh
exactly.
my God, I
It
was
wasn't
never
like-
seen this coming.
It wasn't a book drop moment. You know?
No, not at all. But Ruin wakes up thinking the spell failed.
Yes,
Because they didn't see anything.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. But then somehow they figure out, which I don't have it in my notes, that Ruin, what? It says Ruin, oh no, who finds out? Okay, so G finds out, so he knows he's the half-sister, and they
Yeah.
know they need to get rid of the half-sister. That's the whole point of this,
so
right?
he's like super, like for a couple chapters there, he's like grappling with the fact that he would have to kill Rune.
Yes.
Because that's like their plan is to kill the missing heir so then Cressida can't resurrect her sisters, right? So he's like really grappling with the fact. And then at the end, he kind of decides like, no, I'm going to let her go. Right?
Yes, exactly. Which I thought that was a good storyline in terms of like that half sister had to die and then it had to be ruined and it's like okay.
Yeah.
That was good. That was entertaining. So they take sail now, right?
Yeah. So first Rune goes back because they don't have any food. So she heads back to Gideon's place to like steal some food.
Oh, that's right.
And this is kind of where they have like their final goodbye because they don't know when they'll see each other again or if they'll ever see each other again.
That's right.
And I don't think they share a kiss or anything at this point, but they're just like goodbye. Like
I don't think so.
right?
Yeah, they're just
say their final goodbyes.
which we knew it wasn't going to be the final goodbye.
I know.
I feel
like,
it was,
please.
It was always this like back and forth of like, I'm never going to see you again. And then I see you and it's like, okay.
I know. It got a bit exhausting after a while. I was like, hey, enough's enough. Like,
There's no payoff. You know, these interactions, these weird little things happening. It's like, you know, they're going to get back together.
Exactly.
Because you're like constantly getting them back together. There's no like.
It's definitely not a true like enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
You know?
The first one was.
Yes.
The first one. Definitely don't call the Rebel Witch enemies to lovers.
No, I agree.
At all. So they're going to be leaving on Alex's boat, sailboat, to the mainland.
Yep.
Which I thought was kind of cute.
Yeah.
You know, Alex is kind of part of it again.
Yes.
And the reason why they're going to go back to the mainland is because Ruin wants to tell Soren about Cressida's plan in terms of just using him.
Yeah.
Doesn't care about him. He just wants to use him for his army.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay.
That makes sense. And then they finally get to the island.
But Gideon does leave a note, which is really cute.
Yes, so they finally get to the island. Rune jumps off the boat to like go to shore, and Aurelia's like, I'll stay here with my child, and tosses something at Rune while she's in the water. She's like, sorry, I can't, I gotta go. Ditches Rune. Rune opens this jewelry box, I think it was, and it had this like little love note from Gideon, right?
That's
Which I thought was
cute.
cute,
Yeah.
but like, what the fuck, Aurelia?
I know.
Literally just saved you and you ditch Rune. Like
She is thinking about her daughter.
Of
She doesn't want to
course.
go back to Cressida.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you know, like, so I get it, but it was a whole like weird 180 thing.
Yeah.
Of like, you got, well, but Rune got what she wanted.
Yeah.
Aurelia did fulfill her purpose.
Yeah.
In terms of doing the spell, helping her.
Exactly.
So I get it, but it was a weird 180.
yeah.
Because, you know,
Exactly.
I don't know.
I think she did that because she was like, I think she said you wouldn't have left if I had given this to you earlier, right? Like she would have stayed with Gideon.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
Which Rune probably would have,
I agree.
right? Like
Yeah.
they would have done stuff together.
Yep. She sneaks into the castle and gets captured like immediately.
Immediately, Cressida sniffs her out.
Well, the girl's pretty powerful, so it makes
Yeah.
sense. And so then Cressida like immediately gets into like abusing her and like whipping her
Scene
like
was brutal.
right away.
Lashing her. And this is where Rune does her counterspell to break the curse on Gideon.
Yep. She apparently it has to which is such a weird thing. It has to happen like
While you're dying.
almost dying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very weird.
How does that work? So she's almost about to die, and
Yeah.
then she, musters up to do this spell, and successfully gets it done.
And then on like Rune's pretty much dead at this point. Seraphine walks in and stops Cressida. And Cressida's like, no, get out of my way. And Seraphine's like, no, she's your sister.
Yeah. Tells Cressida.
Yeah. See, this is where I think the book should have like ended.
Yeah.
Like had a little more info like in the beginning parts. And then I feel like it should have left the cliffhanger here.
Yes, not another sailboat thing away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree because this is a huge. Cressida didn't know that
Yeah.
Rowan was her half sister at all.
Exactly.
This is a huge plot point. And yeah, I think that's a great point. I think it should have ended here.
Yeah. Because, like, the part after this is so short with so much information. Again, I'm repeating myself, but, like, still, it's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh.
So we clearly, Sophia knew all along that Ruin was Cressida's half sister. We don't know why.
Yes.
But she goes in and stops and reveals the thing. And then it immediately goes into Gideon's. No,
it was
she's
still in Rune's.
Because they're
She
going to go back.
wakes up because Rune was basically, like, passing out at this point when she
that's
heard
right.
the information.
That's
so
right.
then Rune wakes up and they're on the ship.
Yeah, they're planning to
sailing.
go back to attack
Yeah,
the Blood Guard and take
exactly.
over.
So, and she's mad at Seraphine. Like, why did you not tell me this information?
100%.
Like, hello.
It's huge. But I get it. There's a spell to cover up her identity. No one should have ever found out.
Exactly.
So there was really no point in telling her.
Yeah.
This is where we meet Juniper, who is who's on the boat trying to help heal Ruin.
Yes.
Another new character in this series. And I don't know if we find out there that Juniper and Hera are connected.
I think so. I don't know if she mentions like her name, but she does mention like she was in love with like what would you call them? A human? A non-witch?
Yeah, non-witch.
Yeah.
What do they call them there in this thing? And then, like you were talking about how Ruin feels so betrayed because of the secret. And this is where we find out that Seraphine, knew of how the Rosebloods were and how horrible and terrible they are, that Seraphine stole Ruin from her mother and brought her to her current the grandmother.
The grandmother that raised Ruin.
Yes. Yeah. To protect her. Which, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You could have taken her a little bit farther away.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
It's kind of really close together with everyone.
And again, like, I would have liked a little more information on that. Like, how did that come to be? Like, do you know what I mean? It was just so brief. I'm like...
Yeah, like, where's Seraphine's story and all this? Because then also, we don't know yet, but then Ruin questions, like, well, then how are you, like, the same age?
Yeah.
Like, how are you not super... If you've known my... Yeah. When I was young, a baby, and then now this... And then Seraphine was like, well, I have, like, I have a curse on me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, until my job is done, this is my, like, body. So once my job is done, then I will, like, go away.
Yes.
Which are like, huh?
And again, I'm like,
What's going on?
What's going on here?
More information, please.
Yes.
Gideon and the Blood Guard army are on the island. We go to his point of view where they start to become attacked by Cressida's ships, but they're like ghost ships.
Yes.
They don't know where they're shooting from, where they're coming from, so they're kind of getting like bombarded.
We forgot to mention after Ruin escapes, Gideon does get arrested.
Oh,
he does get arrested for letting her escape.
Yes.
It's not like a huge thing, but like because he gets let out right away.
Yeah,
Layla lets him out because they're under attack.
That's right.
Yeah,
correct. You're right. Yeah.
So it jumps back in, and Layla's like, "Yeah, we need you. We're under attack, right?"
Yes. We get a little bit more information. No, we get a little bit more, like, we get to feel it more as a reader, how terrifying Cressida could be.
Oh, yeah.
And I wish she was in power longer for us to really feel it.
Yeah.
Because she didn't feel like much of a bad guy in terms... Like, she is a bad guy, but I feel like her character could be so much more delved into for us to really hate her.
Yeah.
Like, I do hate her.
Oh, I do too, yeah.
But I feel like we could have feared her more as a villain.
Exactly. Because, like, after Ruin gets, like, her lashings, she's, like, immediately obviously terrified of Cressida, as is Gideon, I'm pretty sure. But, yeah, it would have been nice as a reader to, like... feel that a bit more.
Yeah, I agree. There should have been...
Like, I just hated her. I wasn't like, oh my God, she's so scary.
Yeah. You didn't feel her that she would succeed.
Yes.
Because everything was so close together, jumping back and forth, that I was like, well, of course she's not going to succeed.
Yeah.
Because you didn't give us time to live in that horror. Because, in the first book, they kept talking about the battle, and there's going to be a huge war, and we weren't really... privy to that information at all.
It's true.
So it's like,
Very true.
I'm all for it. This is YA. So we have to remember that, that they're not really going to delve into, I think, much of, because I don't think YA really deals with too much violence, if I'm correct. I don't even know. Because I think it's the YA structures is that you can't have open sex scenes, right?
Yeah, it makes
sense. But I don't know if like the
violence
R rating,
aspect.
violent aspect. But I just wish we got to fear her more because she didn't feel like she was ever going to win. So this book didn't really feel
honestly, I agree. And then it's like part 3 after this.
Yeah,
and the book
buckle
is
up.
like almost done, and it's like I still have like a whole page of notes here, guys.
Yes.
It's insane.
I'm look, see where I'm scrolling? I keep scrolling, you guys. Look. Boop, boop.
Like, it's wild.
Okay. Let's get through it.
So yeah, Cressida's in power now. And also, again, like I would have liked even maybe a timestamp here to know how much time has passed, because it's like she's like basically ruling, has taken over.
Doesn't feel like any time has passed at all.
In my head, I'm just like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Again,
confusing.
A lot of the pages, the chapter to chapters in this book really could have used a time stamp of how long time has passed so that we could really feel them living in it, because it felt like this all happened within a year's time. Not even a year's time, like 6 months.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I agree.
Oh my God, now I gotta scroll all the way up to my notes. Because I scrolled down. Okay.
So Rune is basically being held where Cressida's staying. I'm pretty sure it's a castle where Cressida's staying. And she's in power and has all these witches, and Rune's being held there, but Rune is trying to make a plan to escape, to go tell Soren so he can pull his army and, you know.
Yeah, she's really holding on to Soren to like save them all. It's kind of weird. Okay.
Yeah, that man doesn't owe you anything, girl.
So Juniper's still, helping to heal Ruin, and this is kind of where Ruin and Juniper have a talk, and how Ruin finds out that Harrow and Juniper are connected. They had like a little forbidden love story. And Juniper's family was the one who took Harrow's ear because they found out their daughter was, dating and falling for another female guard who was a blood guard.
Yeah.
So that was cute.
Yeah.
More information would have been nice.
Yes, exactly.
Can we feel this love story, please?
A little bit more of a backstory.
And so Rune is about to escape. And Juniper asks her to save Harrow because Harrow has been captured as well. When? I can't remember now.
Exactly. I don't think it was even in there.
I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure it was just like Harrow is being brought in and Juniper sees, and then she's like in the jail somewhere.
Again, timestamps. What happened here?
Exactly.
So how do so she's
escaping. On the way to free Harrow, and Soren's there.
Oh, okay. I know it was
like,
after
Rune?
before. Oh, yes.
And Rune's like, yeah, no, things are over between us. Like, you were played all along. Like, we were just using you. And he goes to like sexually assault her.
Yeah, it gets immediately like aggressive. Like, no, I own you now.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
What the?
Exactly. Like, Rune's like, yeah, no.
Like, I can understand him being upset, but she was just being used as a pawn for him anyway. Yeah. So obviously he's not a good guy.
Exactly.
But yeah, the whole interaction was a lot.
Yes.
And
ultimately Rune shoots him right in the head.
There was like, the moment was significant in terms of, I think before, I don't know what time, but Gideon was like telling Ruin like how to survive.
Yes, and he was teaching her how to shoot and stuff.
And that you can't like...
Don't hesitate.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And then she takes that of like, okay, I'm not going to hesitate this time.
She hears his voice. And then she's like, shoots him.
Again, it's so easy. Like, the conflict was done immediately.
Exactly.
Which is fine. I don't want anything to happen to Ruin.
Yeah. So then Rune goes and frees Harrow, and then they escape together. Rune heads back to her old house and searches some spell books.
Yes, because she's trying to find the spell to remove the current spell that are on the sisters. Like, she's trying to release that one so they could kill the sisters.
Exactly.
Because obviously Ruin knows now that she doesn't want to die.
She's like,
she needs to have sister. So she has to find a spell to do that.
Yes.
But she's quietly doing that because Gideon and the other guards are downstairs because Noah currently lives, right? Noah?
Yeah.
Currently lives in Ruin's old house. Of course, they're down there. Like, of course, this is how easy they get together.
Convenient.
So convenient. Absolutely ridiculous, man. And then so he hears a noise and he wants to go check it out. And then they have like a reunion upstairs.
Yeah. It's like, that's okay.
Predictable.
Again. Yeah. I was just like, oh my God.
They get caught by Noah and them. And then Noah's like, well, you guys are both going to be dead now.
Yeah.
This is it. This is your last chance now.
Yeah, he tells Lila to take Rune out back and shoot her.
And Noah takes Gideon and they talk. And then one of the guards, Felix is his name, slips Gideon a key
Yes.
to unhook his chains. And he starts to run for it.
Yeah.
And then as he was like running for it, he like goes past Noah and like punches him.
Yeah, punches him in the face.
And
well deserved.
And he wants to go find Ruin because obviously he doesn't want Ruin to get shot. And then Layla was actually going to shoot Ruin.
Yes.
Was actually going to shoot Ruin.
Yeah.
And then Gideon like runs into her and like she like misfires.
Yes.
And Ruin was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Which I find it kind of that weird too for her character because she was so, I don't know, she was willing to let Gideon go.
Yeah.
I just found like she was really gonna, anyways.
Yeah.
I'll move on past that. And then Layla kind of comes to grip with this of like Gideon's like, well, this is not how we win. This is not how we should do this by killing witches. Like, let's not do this. And then Layla was like, okay, well, I'll give you guys 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go after you.
Yes.
Easy and convenience. So convenient now.
So convenient. Yeah, so while they're escaping, Gideon gets shot. And he's bleeding out quite badly.
Yeah, they keep running, and he starts to slip into unconsciousness, and then he does.
Yes.
And as he was slipping into unconsciousness, they hear like horses running around, or a horse, and then we realize it's Ruin's horse.
Yeah, Lady.
Which is so cute.
So cute. They're reunited.
So they hop on Lady and they escape to a cabin, and they run into two men. One is Bart, who was a part of like Ruin's like social group.
Oh, okay.
They run into Bart and his cook.
Lover.
Yeah, lover.
Antonio.
So this is where it kind of gets weird, you guys. So we find out Antonio is an acolyte who was from the Temple of Ancients. They touch on this.
Yeah, okay.
Don't
this
ask
is
me.
so confusing for me.
Don't
like,
ask
don't
me.
even ask me any questions. I have no idea what any of that means.
No clue. So like so they trust Bart and Antonio.
He's like a healer, right?
Yes.
Like
They call
a
him an
healer?
acolyte. I'm sure that's
Okay,
what
it's
healer is.
right? 'Cause
Yes.
he like fixes up Gideon.
Well, because he's like, oh, did you do this? And he's like, oh, are you a witch? And then Gideon goes, what? Like, does it matter?
Yeah.
And then Antonio was like, well, if you didn't do this, he would have died.
Yeah.
Because she only like temporarily healed him.
Yes.
Which we didn't touch up on that.
With the healing spell,
Yeah. Before they got onto Lady. And so then he's like, well, if you didn't do this, he was gonna die.
Yeah.
And again, this is like so much stuff. We're gonna have to like quickly go through this. This is crazy.
And then this is kind of where like they create a plan
Yeah.
to create like they have talks about like creating a new world
Gideon really pushes for that. No one else really believes
where
him.
witches and non-witches can coexist.
Yes. That they can have a revolution of witches who don't believe in what Cressida's doing.
Yeah.
And that they can actually
Live
overturn
peacefully.
her. Yeah. But then again, Ruin is still in this version like, well, I'm gonna keep running away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know.
I don't get that for a character.
Yeah, I get like she was like she got trauma. She like got whipped almost to death by Cressida. But like she's a Crimson Moth. Like she's like some hardcore vigilante. Like
So what's the whole point of a witch of it being like a
Heartless
badass?
Hunter. Yeah.
Because she still is like
so she's like planning to escape. Like she's, no, I'm leaving the island, never coming back. I believe she books a train ticket at this
she asks
point.
the maid of Bess because it was Antonio, Bart, and Bess in that house, and she asks the maid like, "Hey, can you buy me the furthest ticket out of here? The earliest convenience?" It's like this is such a weird thing for her to be like, "Bye."
Weird. Yeah.
And then Harrow.
Yes.
How does Harrow come again afterwards?
Again, don't know.
She just magically appears.
And Juniper and Seraphine show up.
Oh my goodness.
That's why I was just like, what?
I don't. Yeah. So Harrow comes, tries to be like, "Hey, can you come back with us?" And Gideon's like, "Well, no, I'm an enemy to you guys now."
Yeah.
And then Seraphine shows up with Juniper.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, where'd you guys get that memo?
And then Harrow immediately like wants to shoot Juniper. Immediately like has like her gun pointed at her. And I think it's because Harrow thinks that Juniper was like part of the reason of her ear getting cut off. She like thought she was a terrible
She
person.
thought she knew, because they left her for dead, like locked in Juniper's basement. So I think Harrow just assumed Juniper knew, but
Yeah. And Ruin tells Harrow that Juniper is like the only reason why
you're alive.
You're alive. I like, I wouldn't have gotten you if Juniper didn't say anything. Again, more conversations of them of them defeating Cressida, and then the conversation about killing the long lost heir comes up. Obviously, no one mentions it to each other, but Ruin's like, "Oh God, that's me."
That's me.
And Ruin knows she's a sister. She doesn't know that Gideon knows that she's the sister. And so then Gideon's like, "Well, I don't want to deal with any more bloodshed.
Yeah.
How about we just go
No more
find the
innocent
sisters,
people,
and go kill them instead?"
Exactly.
Which was which is good. More people show up.
Yeah, Abby shows up.
And Ash, because Layla sent them a telegram. See, that's what I mean. Okay, so what I mean. So Layla is all for helping Gideon.
Yeah.
So then what was the point of her actually almost shooting Ruin if she was just going to send a telegram to go help Gideon?
Exactly.
This is where it doesn't make sense to me, you guys.
It's like, okay.
Because Layla was the reason why Ash and Abby come and help them, because she's like, hey, Gideon needs your help.
Yeah.
Please go over there and help them. How do they know where they are? I don't know.
Yeah, no idea.
Okay. Ridiculous. Things are just kind of going.
Yeah, so Abby and Gideon are kind of having like a little chat, and Ruin gets like super jealous
And like runs away.
and runs away. Like,
How old? Again, she is young, but I just feel like, huh?
it's like, okay, girl.
The constant back and forth.
Yeah.
Back and oh god.
Yeah. It's like, oh my goodness. It gets so exhausting.
It is so exhausting. So he figures out she's not there anymore.
Yeah. He goes and follows her.
But before
She's
though,
going to like
before he goes and
yeah.
follows her, he finds out from Juniper that
Seraphine tells him.
oh, is it Seraphine? Yeah. So he
Yeah.
finds out that Ruin was whipped almost to
Yes.
death, and that she did it to break the curse.
Yes.
For him.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, oh, that's so cute.
That's like and he goes to find her in the hot spring.
Yes. And he sees all the lashes on her back and consoles her.
They have a conversation about like she's like, I'm her half sister. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Ruin tells him, I think it's the first time she's told him in person that she's in love with him.
Yes.
But then she still tries to convince him to leave.
Yeah. She's like, are you going to come with me?
Yeah, come with me. And he's like, well, no. Like,
obviously not.
everyone's going to be slaughtered if we
Yeah.
don't go do this.
Exactly.
And she's like, I don't care.
Yeah. It's like, okay, girl. Okay, Crimson Moth.
Yeah. And then they part ways, you guys. It's so fucking stupid,
Exactly.
man. So ridiculous.
So, yeah.
Harold, they part ways. Gideon
Yes.
goes back. Harold's like, well, aren't you gonna go follow
Make sure
her?
she's safe. Gets on
Yeah.
the train safely.
Yeah, you don't care.
Like, everyone's out here looking for her.
It's weird that Harold's the one to do it, but okay.
It's like, all right.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, well, I'll go follow her. Maybe she gets back on the train safely.
And this is kind of where a witch notices Gideon.
Well, first though, Gideon sees a dog and a soldier who are going to inspect, and so he wants to distract them so she can jump onto the train.
Yes.
Enough time for the train to leave.
That's right.
So he makes a distraction of like bumping into a guard, and then then a witch is like, "Hey, you're Gideon.
Hey, Gideon.
I have like orders to take you to Cressida."
Exactly. She's gonna kill him on the spot.
Yeah.
She's like, you're wanted, dead or alive.
Yeah. So she takes him to try and go shoot him in the back of the head, and then Ruin comes up and shoots the girl.
Shoots the witch.
Quick. Because apparently on all that quick time, somehow she saw him being led away by a witch.
Yeah.
And then she's like, what's happening?
Jumps
and she gets
off
off.
the train.
Such easy convenience. Everything's happening so perfectly.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And then Ruin tells Gideon that she wants 3 kids. And that she had a vision and she knows it's her and Gideon's children. And that now, all of a sudden, now she wants that vision to come through.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
Okay, it's just kind of like too late.
Exactly.
But then she makes like a thing that she'll stay and fight if they get married.
yeah, if you...
What?
Okay.
I'll only do this if you agree to get married to me.
If you marry me.
Yes. Like what kind of
girl.
conversation is that, you guys?
Come on, girl.
Are they sure? And that's what they
No,
fucking
don't care about the people. Don't care about the witches. Don't care about any people. Just as long as you marry me, I'll help
Yes.
you.
Which is oh god. And then that's when they have sex.
Yeah, they escape on like another train together.
Yes.
And,
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
they jump onto a train together.
Yeah, they have to
They're
run
getting,
away.
Shot at.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they have this big heart to heart, and then they finally make love.
Oh fuck, it's so stupid, man. They get back to the cottage, and they find Layla tied up in the basement.
Yeah.
Because her brother Noah was like, well,
Yeah.
clearly you keep getting away.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
get caught by people.
Yeah.
Which is a crazy thing.
Like,
Like,
that's your sister, dude.
yeah. Weird.
Savage.
So then, as they're about to like leave, they run into more soldiers who they think are going to take them to Noah, but they're not.
Yes.
Again, easy freaking plot point. They're like, actually, no, we're here to help you, Gideon.
Yeah.
Where is this 360 happening?
Yeah, like what happened? They're like, oh, we're looking for orders from you.
Yeah.
Like,
Huh? What we need to like? Why aren't we in Noah's perspective
Yeah.
or someone's perspective?
Yeah.
Like the Felix or whoever who's getting Gideon like the
Yeah.
key. Why aren't we in their perspective so we have an understanding
Yeah.
of why they're turning their
Exactly.
heads to Gideon?
100%.
You know?
I agree.
It's just too good to be true, man. So stupid.
And while they're at the cottage, they receive a message from Harrow, letting them know where the bodies of Cressida's sisters are.
Harrow or
hidden.
Juniper or both
It
of
was
them?
Harrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, letting them know they're at the crossroads and that Cressida is planning to get there.
Yes.
So they have to immediately go there.
So they
okay.
they head out, right?
This is
they
no,
head
but
out
but this is where Ruin
Oh.
is finding the spell books.
Yeah.
And her and Antonio have like a heart to heart about the ancients.
Oh, yes.
Good luck. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
it
marked
was
it in my
so
Kindle.
it was too much information there for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Talking about these ancients and then the past
Yeah.
and blah 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 blah. Ugh,
was
I
too
don't know.
much.
And yeah. Sorry guys, I'm not gonna go into it. It's ridiculous. It's so
So
stupid.
basically, like, they find out all this information about the ancients and then they head out. Right?
Yeah, well, she tells Antonio, well, when we're done with this, can you marry me and Gideon?
Oh, yes, that's right.
Why?
Again, super weird.
Can acolytes marry? Why are you picking Antonio?
It's the only thing on her mind.
I know. I need to get married to this man now. Or I don't want to do this.
Yeah, it's like, girl,
Okay.
come on.
Okay. Oh, before they even head out, they do that, okay? Then
Yeah.
they have a party. They all
Oh,
dance.
yeah, their last little hurrah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is cute.
It was cute.
Because
Because they finally felt like what it would be like if this new world were to be a thing.
Yes.
Where like people and witches are coexisting, right?
Mm-hmm. And then they again, well, it jumps days, at least we know that now, because she tells us they've traveled for 3 days.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Ruin tries to get close to the sisters, but there's like a spell, a force field around them.
Yes.
So she's like, oh God, well, let me get back to everyone. And this is where she sees that everyone is being like captured.
Held by guards. Yeah, they were set up.
Cressida is back. And Harrow's like, I'm so sorry, they were going to kill Juniper.
Yeah.
I had to trick you guys.
Exactly.
Which, you wanted to kill her? Like,
And now 2 days
and now you're like,
later,
oh, and I don't want you to die?
lovers.
I don't buy it.
Okay.
More things that I don't buy.
Yeah, so they're trying to shoot Cressida, but her and her witches have some like protective shield on themselves.
Yes.
So they're unable to shoot them.
Yeah, Gideon tries to shoot at her. They're kind of like farther away, like past this like bridge, and they're like hiding.
Yeah.
And then Ruin starts to realize that like we're not going to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like we're outnumbered. You're going to have to kill me.
Yeah. First, she puts an everlast spell on Gideon, like
Oh,
quick of
yes.
the moment thing. She's like,
That's
"Oh, I
right.
need to put a spell on you to protect you."
Yes. Okay.
Too much in too little time. Yeah.
Yeah. So she, tells Gideon like, "Okay, well, you have to kill me."
Yeah,
like,
this is
there's-
the only way it's gonna work. So she's like, she's like, I want to die by you instead of Cressida. Like, let me go out the way I want to go out.
Okay, but why wouldn't? So, in that moment, Gideon's not really thinking that she'll come back. It's weird that he'd be like, "Okay, boom, you're dead," but I'm gonna keep living.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep trying to kill her.
Exactly.
I don't know.
And like in this moment, like Rune's not actually gonna die.
No, it does feel shocking. I was like, oh, because because
Yeah.
there's so much happening.
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah.
That Cressida could die
Yeah.
to bring Ruin back.
Yeah.
I forgot about that for a second. Okay, so
me too. But at the same time, I was just like, Rune's not gonna be dead forever. Like, let's get
Yeah.
real here.
and so Cressida tries to come up and hurt Gideon, and this is where we find out that she like put the spell where Cressida could never touch him again.
Yes.
Okay, cute.
Yeah.
Cute. And then she's about to kill Cressida because he can overpower her now. Her magic doesn't work on her. And Saphira's like, wait, like, no,
Yeah.
we're going to use her. She's going to do all this little spell.
Yes.
And like plunges. Or no, Cressida's like, you're not going to do it because it's going to what's the thing where like
you're gonna get
corrupted or whatever?
corrupted. Yes.
And Sophia's like, I'm
incorruptible. Yeah, I'm incorruptible. I'm the ancient
I'm an
wisdom.
ancient wisdom. Oh, what the fuck, you guys. Okay.
What? Too much.
Too much. Way too fucking
Again,
much.
so yeah, Seraphine's like, no, I have to do this. So
Yeah.
she stabs Cressida in the heart.
And then Ruin wakes back up.
Yeah.
She's fine.
Okay.
And then G tells, which is cute. This was kind of cute.
Yeah.
So Ruin wakes up.
Yeah.
And she's like, Gideon, I have to tell that Alex loves you.
Alex loves you.
That
I
was
love
cute.
that.
But she
That was
can't,
so
and he's like, did he say that? And she goes, I don't know. Like, I just gotta tell you that.
She's like, I just had to tell you.
That was really cute.
So cute.
That was cute. And then Seraphine like pretty much like evaporates and like disappears.
leaves the earth. I was like, okay. Some god.
I can't. This is ridiculous. Well, like they did mention early in the book that like she has to fulfill her purpose.
Yeah.
Is it a curse? I don't fucking understand
It doesn't
that.
really make sense.
No.
It's too much. Too much. I didn't sink that in, so I couldn't explain it.
No. It jumps time, and Layla goes and takes Noah because Noah's captured now.
Yeah. They arrest him.
And tells like the whole Bloodguard army like you're never to kill witches again.
Yeah, no more hunting, no more purging.
Yeah, like that's it. And then the soldier's like, okay, and they just go back to eating.
No big deal.
Oh God.
And then it jumps like 3 months, right? And Gideon's now the good commander. And
They're in a home, and Ruin wants to run away because she's nervous because everyone's there to celebrate her.
eye roll.
Like, what? Such
Like,
whatever. So she's trying to run away. Gideon comes
meanwhile,
in.
she was like some huge like socialite and heartless hunter.
Yeah,
That's why I was like so confused.
and now she's like nervous. What if they don't like me? What happened to this confidence girl? And then that's when you find out that they're already married.
yeah.
And that this one is kind of cute. Interesting but cute, where Ruin casts spells on them, one for speaking truth always.
Oh, yes.
And one for binding them to their words. Okay.
Yeah.
So instead of wedding bands, they have wedding scars.
Okay.
I
I was
okay.
just like, okay.
I don't know.
Could have been cuter.
Yeah. And then it ends, you guys.
Yeah, then it ends. I was like, okay, like.
Okay, what did you not like about the book?
I just don't like how it was so rushed at the end. Like
Yeah.
all that information that we just told you is from the last like third part, which was like maybe 150 pages long,
Yeah.
if that.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
it was just info dumping, and I felt like there's so many things I wanted more elaborations on. So
Everything was too predictable. Everything was too easy.
yeah,
I didn't feel the conflict. I didn't feel like we were going to have any sort of negative reaction. None of the deaths felt important enough to care about because you knew they were going to come back.
Yeah.
It just was
and like you knew Cressida was gonna die. Like I just knew it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
you knew it was going to be tied into
it
a
was
bow.
so predictable.
Maybe I should like rate it less than 4
I
stars.
know.
now.
It's still a good book. Don't get me
Yes.
wrong. It's a good
Yes.
conclusion, but it could have been better.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I
my
agree.
final thoughts.
The one thing that really annoyed me when I first started reading the book was the constant inner dialogue that both Gideon and Ruin were having
gosh.
to themselves.
Especially on the boat, like when they were sailing. Oh my god.
Oh my God.
I was like, hey,
I couldn't deal with
can
it.
you just say it or do something about it?
I just feel like too much information was put in there. If you took out the portions of the characters talking to themselves, there wouldn't be much storyline. Like it would be
Yeah.
less. It felt like most of that stuff was just page fillers to put some word count in, like unnecessary stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
unfortunately this book for me, I'm happy that it's done, it's ended. But underwhelming. I don't know. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Very underwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm glad Gideon and Ruin are together. I just found it so predictable.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
I could have figured that out.
100%.
Yeah. I just wish Cressida was more of a villain as they made her out to be in the first one. Like you knew that she was terrible and you knew that she was horrible. And to do a whole reveal of like, I'm Cressida.
Yeah.
And then to get to Rebel Witch and be like, still don't really care.
Yeah,
Still
she
don't really-
wasn't that terrifying.
No.
Like, almost evil. Like, you knew she's evil, but she's not, like, in my head, like, super scary.
I want
or
to see her
anything.
be evil.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Barely touched on Cressida.
Don't tell me she's evil.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I want to read it.
Exactly.
Oh my God, man. Could you see this to be turning into a TV series or like a movie?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's easy to.
It's easy enough. It would be easy enough to do.
Yeah, like the magic was pretty easy.
The magic system's fairly.
The practical effects wouldn't be too hard.
Yeah.
I think it would be a cute, like maybe like 6-episode TV series.
Limited series.
Yeah, there you go, limited series. I think that'd be cute.
Yeah, I
no
agree.
clue who I would.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
I'm
who I would-
trying to think now, and I'm like, no idea.
Who would I cast?
I'd have to really think about that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, what a conclusion. What was your last thoughts on it?
Yeah, should have been a trilogy. That's all I gotta say.
That's a good ending point. Should have been a trilogy. Yeah. I don't know.
It was still good. Like, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, it wasn't a horrible book. It
could have been better.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe because it's like YA. No, I can't really harp it on that. Yeah.
It's just too much information in such a short amount of time. Like, I don't know.
Going through it again to try and make points for the podcast. It was so hard to get every little thing because I felt like everything had to be put in there.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of things we could not talked about.
Yeah.
But then I just feel
It's
like,
like
they're all connected somehow.
Yeah, it's true. It's like yeah. It's frustrating because it's like, oh my gosh.
Well,
The info dumping.
Well, would you guys rate it? I think after talking with you, I probably would put it like 3.5.
Yeah.
I don't think I would give it 4 stars.
I know, I agree.
Because I'm trying to remember,
We're
like-
docking points now.
I know. As we really think about it.
Yeah.
Like, I would still recommend the duology.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It just could have been better. That's
Yeah.
all, I have to say. Could have been better.
Okay. Well, actually, we are going to announce the
yes.
next book for the month of
April's
April.
book of the month.
So, Santana and I decided to do a dark romance.
Yeah, this will be our first dark romance for the book club.
For the book club.
Hopefully that's good.
I know. We didn't pick one we've read before.
There's things like a dark romance, it's either really good or it's like
Yeah.
questionable. Questionable.
It was hard for us to try and find a book. 'Cause we wanted to pick a book that we both haven't read.
Yeah.
And we wanted to pick a book that didn't have too much dark topics.
Yes.
Because it is a lot to digest. And we don't know if everyone likes dark romance.
Yeah.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, that this is an easy one in terms
Yeah,
of
I've
dark
heard
romance.
good things about it. So
Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be Limerence by H.C. Dolores. A dead body, a dark secret, and a sociopath who can't decide whether he'd rather kill me or kiss me. Welcome to Lionswood Prep, the world's most elite boarding school. Here, old money reigns supreme, and if you can't flaunt your weight in designer labels, you better get used to sitting alone. As a poor scholarship student, I know these rules better than anyone. I've perfected the art of pretending. I don't envy my classmates' limitless wealth just as well as I've mastered blending into the background. Until the school's only other scholarship student takes a tumble from the 5th floor. Mikey's death is ruled a suicide, but I have my doubts. The only thing I'm certain of is that the Lionswood golden boy, Adrian, is somehow involved. It's a wild suspicion, considering Adrian is not just Lionswood's richest student, but also one of the nicest. He's the kind of guy who buys out the bake sale and caters lunch for a grieving student body. Surely he can't be the murderer, can he? Most of my classmates worship the ground he walks on, but I've seen enough darkness to sense that there's more than a little of. Then there's more. Good old Goodreads, a long introduction.
long ass.
But I've seen enough darkness to sense that there's more than a little of it lurking beneath that pretty smile of his. I shouldn't get involved, but for the first time in nearly 4 years, I'm done sticking to the shadows, except exposing Adrian doesn't quite go to plan, and now he has the sights set on me. He's determined to turn senior year into a game of cat and mouse, one where I'm not sure if his end goal is to kill me or possess me. And the longer we play, the less certain that I might want to escape his snare. After all, I've got a few secrets of my own.
Ooh, a little dark academia.
So it's a
Little
18 plus.
psychopath.
Yes.
Love it.
It's an 18-plus dark romance featuring obsessed love interest that is unapologetically morally black. The relationship between the hero and the heroine is not a healthy one and features themes of dubious consent, emotional manipulation, and other explicit content that may be obscene to some readers. So please read the full trigger list.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's I've heard good things.
Yeah, me too.
You know?
It has really good ratings, so it should be good. Maybe not for your first, I don't know. If it's your first dark romance, we don't know.
We don't know. We haven't read it.
We haven't read it, so.
But in terms like
read the trigger warnings.
I did on our Fable,
Use your
if you look
discretion.
up just one more chapter book club,
Yeah.
I did post the trigger warning list.
Oh, perfect.
Compared to what books we've read, it's like not
Seems
long.
pretty mild.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're not into dark romance, you don't even want to try it, you can skip this.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll let you know how it is. But yeah, I'm
You can
excited.
watch the review.
I believe Limerence is on Kindle Unlimited.
It is, yes.
So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can scoop it up there, or buy it. I don't know how much it is for Canadians, but yeah, I got it on my Kindle Unlimited. So I'm excited.
Me too.
It says it's number 1 in the book series, but I don't see the second one.
I think it's not out yet.
Okay, so it's coming out, but for right now, it's just one. This was published September of last year.
Oh.
So it's pretty new.
fairly new.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Cool. Okay, guys. Well, that will end us for Heartless. No, it was Heartless Hunter.
I know. I said that earlier too. I was like, oh, it's
you
Rebel
really?
Witch.
The Rebel Witch book review. Let us know in the comments below or on a social media page if you've read it and what your rating is, and if the things we talked about you agree with or don't agree with. We'd love to know your thoughts.
Yeah.
Catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.